Hello, divine creations, divine marvels. Children of God, thank you so much for dropping by. I'm really excited to be here today. And for anyone who's new to this channel or this topic, this is based around the teachings of that guy. His name's Bruno Gröning. And, he taught some of the deepest spiritual truths in a language so simple that a child could understand and follow them. And interestingly enough, that's what he spoke of himself and all of us as children of God. So here is something he said on this topic. He said, and this is a little context, he was talking about people who had experienced a healing on this path. They have obtained insight and now know they are children of God, that they follow God, that they are being divinely guided, and that they can walk the path which God has ordained for them, and also for each human being. So the thing is we like to think that we're in charge, but actually we're not. We have been given free will, and if we want to live a happy, healthy, harmonious life, according to Bruno Gröning and many other such wise beings, then we need to align ourselves with the divine, with God, with the Supreme, and then be guided. And here Bruno Gröning points out that part of this is this recognition, which it's not just mental, a real felt sense, an experience, and a recognition that we are very small and God is very vast, and that we actually need the divine. So taking on that attitude of I need God, and of looking to the infinite, limitless power for guidance and help. But more than that, for protection and safety and sustenance. We like to think in the 21st century, who needs God? I've got my computer, I've got my credit card. With a few clicks of the button, I can have food delivered to my house. A few clicks of the button, I can buy an airplane ticket and I can be halfway around the world in a day. All those things are very impressive. There's no question about it. But they're all artificial. And Bruno Gröning pointed out that we need nature and we need the divine if we want to live well, if we want to be happy and peaceful. So let's take on this humble attitude of recognizing how small we are before the infinite. Let's recognize our need for the divine. And let's hand over all burdens, worries, problems, issues, especially illnesses, to God or to a spiritual helper we trust, such as Bruno Gröning. And then having done that, let's receive the divine blessing, the divine energy, which is very easy to do. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards, back in a relaxed position, if possible, not leaning against your chair, closing your eyes. Now really just handing over our burdens and worries. Any life situations we're stressed about, any fear, really separating ourselves from problems and illness and fear, and then asking to receive the divine life force and observing your body, noticing what you feel, having the intention to take this energy in. So we'll be in silence for a few minutes, and please practice that. Observe your body, having the intention to take this energy in. Observing the body, intending to take this energy in. Thank you for saying hi, everyone. So delightful to see some familiar names and some sweet emojis. So, and I'm going to talk a little. Please do continue to tune in. Bruno Gruning said, "Don't lend your ear to evil. God did not give you a body for that." So it's a very simple statement, but it's so profound. So we are a soul. We've been given a body. And as a soul, we have this receptive capacity to take in ideas, to take in energy. And as a soul, part of what we're here to learn is to learn what energy and what ideas to take in. Not everything that everyone says is true, and some of it's quite harmful. So you know, part of this path is learning to check your thought, one thought at a time. But it's also learning to check what other people say. Bruno Grinning pointed out that all of our misfortune comes from listening to and following other people rather than listening to and following God. Now, uh, does that mean we shouldn't listen to others literally? That's not my understanding. But it means that, just because I'm saying something, don't take it as truth. You have to check with every sentence I say. You don't have to, but what in every sentence that everyone says that you listen to, Bruno Grinning calls us to check in. Is this true? Is this accurate or helpful? So let's sit with that for a little bit, continuing to take this energy in. Engaging that receptive capacity we have and taking this energy in. this need for discernment was made very clear to me yesterday. Actually, it was today. Someone left me a comment on this channel. Um, Someone who hadn't been here before, I don't think has ever come to one of these gatherings, but in essence, saying that he was speaking for God and shared all these ideas. But one of the ideas that he shared was, hey, this isn't me speaking. This is basically God speaking through me. So, I mean, I believe that God does speak through people, and Bruno Gröning was a very clear example of the, for me anyway, of the voice of God speaking through a human being. However, not everyone, and I don't know that Bruno ever made such a claim of himself. He did say, "It speaks through me," but to my knowledge, he never said, "Oh, this is the voice of God." The thing is there's many people who claim to be speaking for God today in the world, and as I hope everyone here who knows what I'm about to say, is just because someone claims to be speaking for God or sharing the truth, that doesn't mean that they are. We need to really tune in very deeply and discern with everything, but especially with people who claim such an authority. At the very beginning of my spiritual path, I had no discernment. If something was spiritual, quote spiritual, I just assumed it was true. 20 years ago, I would have been panicking. I would have been like, oh my God, this guy is speaking for God, and I better take what he's saying very seriously. And I would have just believed what he said. And Bruno Gröning didn't, the way that I practice Bruno Gröning's teachings is I don't ignore what this person said, but I don't automatically accept it as true, whether he's claiming to speak for God or not. What's important is that I tune into the divine inside of me, and check in and listen. And then one sentence at a time. Is this true? Is this not true? By doing what Bruno Gröning said, listen to your conscience. He said, which is your soul, which is where God lives. So let's reflect on this a little bit and take in some more of this, or continue to take in this good energy. I don't know if I have the exact quote handy. Let's see if I can find it. Bruno said, the human being must always stay centered in himself. Stay centered in myself and listen. And, take what other people hear the words that other people say while staying centered in myself. Staying centered into that part of me that knows that just some things feel right and some things feel wrong. So observing our bodies, taking in this good energy. take a moment and check in with yourself. See if what I'm saying resonates, if it feels like the truth. And this is so important for us as citizens of the 21st century. There's so much information available. I'm very grateful to the internet. I can, you know, share this information, share this with all of you. We're all around the world. We can connect. And there's a lot of information out there, and it's not all true. And then there's some of it that's true, but it's not even helpful to know. So we truly do need to stay centered in ourselves and discern. I'd like to share a little bit of let's see, a comment that someone wrote. And this person wrote, I don't even want to read all of it. It's a comment I don't really agree with. Um, this person wrote, and the more a man speaks of evil and thinks about evil, the more evil dominates the man. Attention. So here, here we have someone dropping by this channel and sharing their view. Their view is that the more, and so this was in response to a video I made about what is evil. The video was, what is evil? What is healing life energy? What is the answer to all of our problems? So this person in essence was saying, hey, don't make a video about evil. Don't talk about evil because that actually makes it stronger. He says, again, and the more a man speaks of evil and thinks about evil, the more evil dominates the man. Attention. So not only that, this person's like telling me to pay attention to what he's saying, he or she, I don't know. So on the surface, that sounds reasonable. However, Bruno Grinning said, never forget that that the human being lives right in between good and evil. On the one side, the good, on the other side, the evil. He also said that evil will constantly attack you. So my understanding of what Bruno Grinning taught was for us to be mindful and vigilant that evil is all around. He instructed us not to speak about specific kinds of evil, such as a particular illness, such as a particular life problem we're facing, unless it's necessary to talk about it. So here we have two ideas. The one idea is this person saying, hey, don't talk about it or even think about it. And on the other hand, we have Bruno Grinning saying, don't think about or talk about specific kinds of evil, and never forget that we live right in between good and evil. Obviously, Bruno Grinning doesn't want us to dwell on evil, but he does call us to be mindful that we live right in between these two forces and to continuously choose the good and be mindful of evil or negative thoughts. So they can't both be right. Bruno Grinning and this person who showed up, because they're sharing opposite views. And so here's where the rubber meets the road spiritually. They're two different spiritual ideas. It's easy to say, well, Bruno Grinning said this, so I'm just going to believe that. But that's not what Bruno Grinning wanted. He wanted us to convince ourselves of the truth and find out for ourselves what is true. So, who's right? This person who said thinking about or even talking about evil in the abstract form makes it stronger and then allows it to dominate us, or Bruno Grinning, who said we need to be mindful of it, especially to be mindful of evil or negative thoughts. I'm not going to answer that. I have my view, but I'm just a human being. I'm not God, and I'm certainly not a master. So I ask each person here to listen deeply inside themselves, which is that's actually one of the ways that Bruno described how to do Einstein. Listen deeply inside yourself. What answer comes for you? Let's spend a little time asking, really looking deep within. Asking our conscience, our soul. So if people would like to share the answer they got, actually, that's what I feel inspired to do is please share what came to you as I tune in. What comes to me very clearly is to focus on the good and to be mindful that evil is all around us here on this planet, on planet Earth, and that it's constantly trying to pull us off, trying to pull us off. So again, that the answer I get when I listen within is to focus on the good and be mindful of, um, well, as Bruno Grüning called it, the be mindful of the rules of the game of life. That evil is mighty and it is around us and it is seeking our harm. The way that comes to me is don't give evil too much attention or too little attention. And if anyone wants to share the answer that came to them, please do. Thanks, forever loving everything. Not so much. I'm delighted to hear you agree, and it's more. I'm delighted to hear that you. It's more. I'm delighted to hear that you found your answer. You listened within, and you found your answer, and it happens to resonate with what resonates for me. So I'd like to share a help that I experienced thanks to Bruno Grüning. Actually, I'd like to share a healing. I think I've shared this one before, but it comes to me very near and dear, partially because um, I found this book, which was part of the healing. I used to get chronic sore throats. This was at the very beginning of finding Bruno Grüning, and I got sick very often. And so when I got sick, I just laid in bed and I tuned in for hours every day. And I put this very book. This book is 8 years old, and you can see it's gotten some wear and tear. I put that book on my throat and just tuned in. I didn't really believe that pictures of Bruno Grüning could help, but I'd heard enough people say that they could help that I was willing to try it. So first of all, I got over the cold much more quickly than usual. I was over it in about 4.5, 5 days, and normally colds would take me at least 7 or 8 days. And then after that, the sore throats were gone. I used to get sore throats multiple times a week. Since then, I get a sore throat maybe once a year, maybe once or twice a year. So the healing was absolutely, I attribute it to all the tuning in and to the help of that picture. Now, another help I'd like to share that's truly profound is, and that all of you were a part of it. My cat went in for surgery a couple of months ago, and right at the beginning of the community, one of these gatherings, she was just about to go into surgery. And so I inwardly tuned in and asked for her. And throughout the entire, not maybe the entire, but during the meeting, I kept asking for the highest and best for her during the surgery. And then throughout the day, I just kept asking Bruno for help. And then when I went to pick her up, the vet said that she had done great and everything went great. She said, and something amazing happened. That got my attention. I was very curious. She said, once we put her under, we didn't have to, increase or decrease the anesthesia. She just stayed balanced the whole time. She said, I've only seen that happen once before, and I've been doing this, I forget how long, I think she said for 25 years. She'd done a lot of surgeries. And what that means is when someone goes under anesthesia, the doctors are having to monitor the heart rate and constantly having to increase and decrease the anesthesia to keep, in this case, the animal, but to keep the patient at the proper level of unconsciousness. You can't let them go too unconscious or they'll die, but if they become too conscious, they'll wake up and feel the pain. So, it's this constant like dance that anesthesiology is not. It's a very stressful job. You're holding someone's life in your hands. It's a very delicate undertaking. But she said there was not a single adjustment was needed the entire time, and that had only happened, she said, once before in something like 25 years of doing surgeries. So I thank all of you who participated in that, who helped out my princess kitty cat. And let it remind all of us that truly nothing is impossible for the divine power. So, friends, let's begin to wrap up, and let's take a minute and really ask for any situation or any heart wishes, any deep, anything that we, those who are near and dear to us, anything that we want to take this time. We've built up all this energy. Let's put it to good use and ask now for ourselves, first of all, and then for other situations. And by the way, if anyone ever disagrees with me, please share it. I'm just sharing my best understanding. My preference is you share it after one of these gatherings. Just post it in a comment on a video. I'm still learning. I truly do not know it all. So let's ask. Let's ask for the great turnaround for all of humanity, for the restoration of goodness on this planet. For ourselves, for those we care about, and everyone and everything on this planet. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for saying hi, Forever Loving Everything. Thanks for saying hi, Jisoo. Wave received and returned, Germana. I wish everyone a beautiful day. And actually, I would really appreciate people's feedback on this topic. There is a little bit of disagreement in the Bruno Grinning community. Some people don't even like to say the word evil or say the word Satan, and yet Bruno said it all the time. And so I'm very open to hearing people's experience and the answers they get when they tune in on this very, very profound topic. And very important. It's a very important topic. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. Take care. Much love.